back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. Or if you follow us on social media, EPEEP for short. I am one of your hosts, Wrestling Chris G. And on the other line with me today, he's the one with the boxing gloves. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, man, how you doing?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
You're a lover, not a fighter?
I'm a lover, baby. I don't.
You're Pikachu. You love everybody, but you can't pick up that damn boxing glove. That was so cute. I'm
Me
sorry.
and boxing gloves just don't look right.
So today's episode is the Punchy Pokemon, episode 29 of the Pokemon series, or translated from Japanese, Fighting Pokemon Huge Battle. You know what? I might like that.
Yeah, that one's not bad. It's a little clunky.
It is a little clunky.
I wish I could refine it a little bit, but it's not bad, all things considered.
Or just call it a huge battle of fighting Pokemon.
No, that's even clunkier.
Oh, okay. They picked the best one of the four. So, this week, this week we covered this episode and we actually get introduced to a few different types of Pokemon.
Oh, crap.
Yes, sir.
Oh, crap.
So, Dougie, man, you know what time it
Yeah, I do.
is. So, Dougie, man, who do you think who's that Pokemon is of this episode?
Look, there's quite a few options, right?
There's a lot of options.
There's at least 3 that I could see legitimately, but I'm gonna go with the obvious one. Now that bit me in the ass a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna go with Hitmonchan.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay,
And the man gets the donut.
I wouldn't be mad if it was the others, but I could see it because they pulled some bullshit before.
Yes. So, just because it's fresh on our minds, Doug, for once, we're not going to go straight into the history, but we have a server announcement.
A what?
A service announcement.
You said server.
Yeah, it is kind of a server announcement.
Well, it's too late. I'm not getting food delivered.
So, we have a service announcement, everybody. So, me and Doug have sat down and we kind of hammered out how we're going to be doing our Patreon. And it's actually really good for all of you fans. So, we're going to start off with, if you subscribe to our Patreon on the first Saturday of each month, instead of waiting week by week for the episodes to come out, you get that whole month's worth, which will be between 4 to 5 episodes in one big lump. So you get it. You can listen to it as you need. If you listen to it all on the first Saturday and you have to go the rest of the month, so be it. So that would be the first tier, because we have 3. And the first tier will be a $5 tier to be able to get that. Our second tier, which will be for $8, will include our movie reviews, which at some point we will have a decent backlog of. So you'll be able to get access to our Pokemon movies. And then on our tier 3, the biggest part of our announcement, and this one's for $10 per month, we will be reviewing Pokemon Sun and Moon, more recent series going forward on the $10 tier. Now, we haven't hammered out how those episodes are going to come out. I think we've kind of kicked around whether we'll give you 1 or 2 extra episodes of Sun and Moon per month, whether we'll have a backlog and some of those episodes will be dropping on a weekly basis under that tier. We're not quite sure, but this news is exciting because this will actually be launching around our 1 year mark in July of the every Pokemon episode ever podcast. So,
So
Doug,
we have to keep ourselves honest,
yes,
and you'll know if if no Patreon comes out, that means we didn't make it.
yes. Well, it's not that the Patreon. So as you're listening to this right now, there is a Patreon, but I'm giving you a halt on this. We have not worked the kinks out. So you can subscribe. If you want to subscribe and help us out here at the podcast, every dollar helps. So you can subscribe if you want to, if you think that our podcast is worth your time. But subscribing right now when every single episode that is on the Patreon is for free right now on the feed that you're listening to, you might want to weigh your options before we get everything settled down for our 1 year. So just hold off. We're not telling you to not subscribe, but everything is not there yet. So if you subscribe today, you're not getting Sun and Moon, and you're not getting the movie reviews, besides the one movie that we've already done, which is already on the free feed. So
Correct.
So, I mean, I don't know if I can say it any other way. Doug, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, just that's kind of our outline. That's kind of the way we're gonna do it. We might get a little more granular with like in terms of our recording schedule, um, when that's relevant, because we've kind of very briefly started kicking that around, but we don't want to make any, pardon me, any commitments to anything and then have to immediately backtrack.
Yes. And I do want to point out there, and me and Doug have not talked about it like Patreon wise, but if you are wanting to be a part of a future episode, make sure to shoot us an email, and we will go through the background, make sure that you're a good candidate for the show, and you will make it on the air for a future episode. We are taking applications for people that want to be on our show. So I just want to throw that out there as well.
What's that email again?
That email is the title of the show. Every Pokemon episode ever podcast at gmail.com. So you have to be serious when you're sending this email, because you got to type that out.
And that's why I like the email, because you got to want to type it in.
Yes. So that's where we do our business. That's where we've been communicating with our first few guests that have come onto the show. Our first few guests they're in the DMs. We can basically talk whenever. I actually still talk to Ben periodically. So thank you again, Ben, for coming on to that episode.
Definitely.
We will be having our second guest, and I just actually officially confirmed it. We'll be recording his episode a week from today, but his name is JP, and he will be coming onto our episode, onto the podcast in 2 weeks from the time that you're hearing this episode. So there you go.
Very nice.
Yes. So JP, I'm not gonna plug all of his stuff right now, but yeah, he's very excited. I confirmed that he's good for the time slot that we put him in for next week, Doug. So yeah, we're good to go.
Sounds good, man.
So that being said, this week's episode, as we said, is called The Punchy Pokemon. This episode premiered in Japan October 14th, 1997, and premiered here in the States October 15th, 1998. And Doug, I believe I'm going first on this one.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are for this one. Yes.
Okay. So on this date in 1951, the show that a lot of us adults that are listening to this show might have caught on a Nick at Night or caught on a few other different channels, depending on if you watch the black and white or you watch the color version. But the show I Love Lucy debuted on this day on CBS in 1951, Doug.
Yeah, I Love Lucy. Groundbreaking. You
Very
know, and I mean,
groundbreaking.
I don't want to say that lightly. Um,
It,
kind of,
it would be kind of a controversial show today. It wasn't back then, or it probably was, because I mean, you had, as you stated off air, Doug, you had basically a housewife who did not work, but she had a very powerful mind and had a lot of ideas. And back then, it was hard for a lady to get out her ideas because she wasn't taken seriously because she was a woman.
because she was, and I mean, yeah, that sounds bad to say. I mean, I'll fully admit that, but you know, that's kind of what we were dealing with. So to have a show where the main female lead is routinely coming up with these schemes and you know trying to be a part of the husband's band to get on stage to be seen singing and performing and you know kind of being rebuffed at every turn and then you know when she's not doing that she's getting into wacky hijinks you know where she's getting pardon me she's getting drunk on television or she's
So she was either drunk on television, or the most famous episode that I remember as a child watching was the day that she went to the chocolate factory,
yes.
and she got a job there, but she couldn't keep up with the demand of the chocolate, so she started eating the chocolate as it was coming across on the conveyor belt. Oh, I remember that episode. Funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. And you know, and I think you said something, you know, before pardon me, before we got on, before we hit record, when we were kind of trying to figure out our dates, um, you kind of threw out, could this be remade today?
Yes, and I
And I
don't.
said no, and I think you kind of came down on the same side as me because I think it would just be another show, and I think it would spend too much time.
Talking about the past and doing the whole winky wink, and we were talking about this. You brought up the whole, like, they be poking fun and looking at the camera and going beyond the fourth wall. But and I was telling you, I had just I'm on episode 7 of the reboot of Saved by the Bell. It's not better than the original, but I mean, I'm enjoying it. But I do not see this show getting a second season
No,
because of the way that it was written. I mean, it's a good nostalgia show that came back, and it's good for the time being. But after the first season, I don't see where really they can go unless I'm missing something within these next 3 episodes that I'm about to watch. So I mean, you bring back I Love Lucy. Where's the controversy? Where's the controversy in bringing it back? Because now nowadays, in the 21st century, where we women can vote, women can drive cars, women can work. Like, it wasn't. And I actually just watched that TV show, The Queen's Gambit, on Netflix.
I've been hearing good things about that show, but
Oh,
I've been
it's really good,
I've
really
been
good.
tied up with some other shit.
So, and that show takes place in the 50s, and there's one specific scene on that show where um the girl wants to go and find a job so she can make enough money to buy a chessboard, and her stepmother looks at her and goes, "The only women that work that are your age are of color. We don't work. We're a housewife."
Well,
So,
yeah, and that's you know that's extremely of the time.
yes. So I don't think bringing this back now, I mean, if you bring it back, I just, you're going to have a bunch of people on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media, just all up in arms because it's not the way that people live today. which it's not the point. It's supposed to be about something in the past, and I just think that bringing it back now would kind of diminish the product because you have all these uh, you you have these millennials and Gen. I think it's
You can't say that in a negative way. You are one.
I am one, but a lot of us millennials, freaking, we they're kind of soft. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I shouldn't. I like just watching the Saved by the Bell. They had to take out a damn scene. I saw the scene. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that bad. But they made fun of Selena Gomez with her kidney transplant, saying that Justin Bieber's mom was the one that did the kidney transplant, and then they had to take that whole scene out.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, they as of yesterday, if you go on Peacock, that scene is not in the show anymore. I mean, I saw the scene elsewhere where I was watching it, but you cannot see that scene anymore. And it's just I'm like, come on, it was a line. It was meant to be funny. They weren't making fun of Selena Gomez. They were talking about Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, and their relationship to tied to Justin Bieber. Like it was just a funny one-off line. Like I was watching Animaniacs and they had to take out a scene from the very first episode with Johnny Depp in it because it was bad timing. But have you heard of that song called Johnny Johnny Yes Papa?
No.
Okay, so it's a song for kids. It's a very popular song that came out about 4 years ago, and they had to take out that scene because people were relating it to the time that they were remaking the episode, thinking that they're poking fun at Johnny Depp and the controversy that he was going through with the divorce that he was going through. So, which that scene had nothing at all to do with Johnny Depp, his divorce, and all this. I will back up Johnny Depp in this because I watched it and I was laughing when that scene came out. I was like, oh, I get that because I have little kids in my house. I know what the joke is supposed to be, but people make it into something that is completely not, and they had to take that scene out.
Damn.
Yeah, out of the
PC. So
Animaniacs.
it's PC cult. So okay, that's what the fucking. Because I was seeing that like it was all over. People were posting like YouTube reaction videos. Like they took down episode 6 of Animaniacs. This year sucks. This is why they pulled it. This is crap.
Yes.
Like, calm down, people.
Yeah, people were pissed. I mean, you can find the episode. I watched it and I was laughing, but I saw that episode before I knew that it was taken down. I saw online. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. They took that down for that? Like bullshit. I was like, that was a funny ass joke. So, but people just they looked up the timeline and they were like, okay, so they were in production with this episode at this time frame. During this time frame, Johnny Depp was going through this at this time frame. Oh, so they're trying to make fun of Johnny Depp. No, not at all. I mean, for God's sakes, they made fun of Trump, saying that he has the best island in the whole world on the Animaniacs, which was funny as hell.
Oh yikes!
He's a cyclops on an island. Just
Oh
just just
no!
just watch it. It's hilarious. I'm not gonna give away the whole joke, but it's just funny. But tying everything back together to this whole I Love Lucy, I don't think it could last in today's culture because just like you said, you brought up the right words. The PC culture sucks.
Yeah, and like, and my other fear with like, and I mean, we're just talking just out of our ass. Nothing's been said about a remake. Nothing. This isn't. We're not speculating on something we saw. Um, the problem with a a reboot of I Love Lucy is you either do the wink wink stuff of the we couldn't do this back in the 50s, or you try to modernize it, which just makes it another show
Yes.
with famous character names.
Yes.
and then either way it doesn't work.
Yes. Correct.
So you're
Because I
kind
because
of
I don't even think that you could have any original actors because I don't think any of them are. I mean, sad to say, God rest their souls, but I don't think any of the original actors of I Love Lucy is still around
I like no, I don't think they are.
because not I even the little kid that was in the show that was Ricky Ricardo's little buddy that would dance in his band. I don't even think he's around because you're talking 1951. That kid had to be at least 8 or 9 during that time. So you're talking 49. So you're talking 69 years later. He might be alive. He might. But
Well,
but that
but
that
that would but you're taking away, if you can't get like an original actor from the series, you're taking away like a joke of, oh, that's my grandpa, and the parents watching it go, oh, that was, you know, he was in the original show and all that. But yeah, so I don't even you couldn't even do like a loose tie.
yeah.
So
So I love how we got off onto a whole spiel of I on I Love Lucy, but it was a good talking point though.
it was
So
makes it
Doug,
sound like we kind of know what we're talking about.
I know, right? So that was mine. We're not done with the review yet, everyone, because Dougie Fresh still has his. So Dougie man, what do you have on this date of October 5th?
15th.
15th.
I was like, oh shit. Uh,
My bad.
so yeah, I'm gonna go kind of quick. Um, Not saying anything about time or anything because what is time, but I did kind of enjoy this episode a little more than last week, and I don't want to shortchange us. So on this date, on 1989, Wayne Gretzky becomes the all-time NHL points leader, um, with a goal to tie the game late. So he took over the points lead from Gordie Howe with 1,850 total points. That's goals and assists are how you tabulate points in the NHL. And the the next question is, pardon me. Well, Doug, how many points did he end up with?
Yes, Doug. How many points did he end up with? And as he looks it up,
Uh, 2,857.
oh shit,
So he was going, man.
that's a lot of points. So good stuff. Good stuff. Holy crap, that did not need to be on my feed. There's sometimes I'm glad my wife is not around me as I'm scrolling through Instagram. Doug?
What happened?
No, I was scrolling through and then all of a sudden a half naked woman was on my screen promoting
Told
her
told you
promoting
not to go
herself.
on those sites while we're doing.
No, this was Instagram and Rachel Cook just has no chill at all. And she was just like, oh, I'm going to make a montage video of me pulling up my underwear and thrusting my hips and just all sorts of just, alrighty. Good stuff. Um, so the punchy Pokemon, Doug.
Yes,
So you ready to get into this episode?
I am ready because this was a pretty decent episode, all things considered.
Yes, it was the better of the two. We're recording this again on December 1st, 2020. Um, Still, again, another impromptu episode just to get it in the can before we get to our special guest. And yeah, we start this week's episode with a Hitmonchan training by going on a jog and punching the air, looking like he's training for a big fight, Doug.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask, because because this is how we started the episode,
Yes.
and we don't start with our heroes right away. But I wanted to ask: is this how Hitmonchan appear? Like, could this honestly be a wild Hitmonchan, or did spoilers for about 5 seconds from now? Did the trainer give him this outfit?
Um, you know, actually, it's funny you say that because I was watching Pokemon Journeys. I think it was last night or the night before. And there's a Pokemon in the show called Scorbunny. Okay.
Okay.
And when Scorbunny evolves, Scorbunny, think of it this way, and this is the only way that I can paint the picture. Scorbunny is a naked Pokemon, has no clothes. Okay. So when he evolves, he gets his feet morph into like some like black paws. He gets like a coat, like a winter coat around his body, and he gets a scarf that goes around his mouth. So I think the clothes come with the evolution. I mean, and us today, we know that Hitmonchan is a second generation Pokemon because there's another Pokemon that's Hitmonchan right before he's a Hitmonchan. So yes, I'm gonna fully say because when Ash pulls out his Dexter, Hitmonchan's in the exact same outfit. So I think that the clothes come with the Pokemon, and so does the punching gloves.
Gotcha.
Because I think the punching gloves are actually Hitmonchan's hands. Which how does he eat? That's a good question.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Lots of protein shakes.
Yes. So okay, but yes, to answer your question long-windedly, I believe cold-heartedly that this could have been a wild Hitmonchan that could be caught in the wild.
Okay, so Ash just wasn't completely over his head with something.
No, I don't think so because like I said, Dexter has a picture of Hitmonchan and Hitmonchan's in the exact same outfit. So that's not an original um that's not an original outfit.
Gotcha.
So I'm just putting two and two together. I might be wrong later on, but you guys can scream at me on Twitter or through email, and I might read it. So,
I might read it.
but I just think it's funny because Ash, as soon as he sees this Hitmonchan, becomes a professional boxer out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there and he's telling Pikachu basically, put your dukes up, and this is how you punch. You're gonna punch like this and like this and like this and like this. And Pikachu in itself is kind of getting motivated, but um, what we find out later on is, I guess behind the scenes or the scenes that they cut out of this episode, Pikachu is on the verge of learning a brand new attack.
Right.
So, so good for Ash with doing this because I mean he was able to teach his Pikachu a new move unbeknownst to all of us yet. So you want to go over the next part after we get the title sequence, Doug?
So he goes up and so freaking after they coach him and after we have like a freaking like Rocky thing.
Yes. And for out of nowhere, I guess Ash just happened to have some boxing gloves inside of his backpack because he gave them to Pikachu and told Pikachu, "Let's battle this Hitmonchan so we can catch it."
So he goes up to him and Hitmonchan is kind of giving him the bully at the schoolyard.
Hitmonchan's on such a higher level than Pikachu. I feel so bad for Pikachu.
And Ash goes, "All right, Pikachu, pardon me.
You good
Give
over there?
him Yeah, I'm good. Give him the rocket punch.
And Pikachu goes in and tries to punch him, but gets stopped in his tracks because Hitmonchan's like, I'm just gonna put my fist on top of Pikachu's head. Now I'm gonna put my foot on top of Pikachu's head, and Pikachu won't be able to move, even though he's trying to punch me. And Pikachu is getting pissed.
Yeah, I mean, and Pikachu when he gets pissed, that's when stuff kind of pops off, and
Yes,
he actually executes the rocket punch.
and Hitmonchan was not expecting that.
Well, he wasn't expecting it, and then the camera kind of messes with you because the way they make it look is that he landed this big knockout blow, and what is it? Misty goes, "He did it," and Brock goes, "He did," and then we zoom out to reality and we find out that Pikachu just landed
A very cheap
like
shot.
the most lancing blow on Hitmonchan's cheek.
And Hitmonchan's just looking at Pikachu like, did you really just do that, motherfucker? Really?
Really, dude?
And then we get his trainer walk into the scene and eh, basically goes, "Oh, so you want to battle? So are you ready, Hitmonchan?" And then it's at this point Pikachu gets shit scared.
Yeah, because Pikachu's bad when he thinks he's got something because he's like, "This is my show," and then I think he finally dawned on him that like, oh no, he's a fighter.
I'm about to get my ass kicked.
I might not make it.
He stood behind um Ash, or no, he stood behind Brock, just shit scared, and then full on gets whacked. Like Hitmonchan should feel bad for the way that he treated Pikachu in this sequence because Pikachu basically got rocked. Like he was hitting like 20, 30, 40 punches on Pikachu, and all he needed was just one punch.
And
He
he knew it.
he didn't need to go this extra route because Pikachu is he's already defenseless. Like Pikachu's already in the air getting punched, and he's like chan 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 chan. And Ash is just like fuck, and then Pikachu just starts seeing stars. And then after Pikachu starts seeing stars, Hitmonchan goes, "I'm gonna uppercut this motherfucker." Whack.
And that and
and
that's the one.
and that's where it was called.
As
Done.
it should have been, although you could maybe argue that maybe it should have been called before that.
Yes. So all right. So after that point, Doug, you want to go on to the next scene?
So the trainer calls Hitmonchan the winner. They do a little victory pose, and then apparently his daughter like gets in the middle of the road and goes, "What are you? Come home! What are you doing?"
Well, yeah. And he's like, no, I'm out here training. I need to become the best. And you're not going to become the best just sitting at home. And then just runs away and just starts basically jogging with his Hitmonchan again. Which
Because it's a
what kind of shape is this Hitmonchan in? Because if you think about it, Hitmonchan must have been really far away from his trainer because a lot happened before his trainer got in the picture.
this is true. It's not like the trainer was on a bike behind him.
He
Maybe
he he
maybe
came
maybe
up like
Hitmon
2 minutes later,
maybe Hitmonchan goes out independently.
apparently. But it's at this point that we get good old smitten Brock because now Brock sees a pretty lady and thinks she is just it. She's the best.
Yeah, I have issues with this, which aren't really relevant now. They're going to be relevant at the end. But just let it be known to all who are listening that I have issues with this particular flirtation.
Why not? Why is that?
Because well, it's not relevant now. But
Oh,
we'll circle back like we did a couple weeks ago.
all right. So, okay. So it's at this time, scene cut, and we are now at the Pokemon fighting gym where the Hitmonchan basically trains. So it's at this point, all of them are in there, and his daughter is going over the Pokemon boxing scene, talking about the famous boxing Pokemon that are around this area, and they all come here and they all want to be the best. So,
And I don't like this because they're in there, and Ash immediately goes, "This isn't like any Pokemon gym I've ever been in." I was like, "You dope!
yeah,
It's a gym."
yeah. So I, I don't know. Do we ever end up finding out what the name of this um guy
Of the
is? Anthony?
of of the guy Anthony, yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought his name was. Okay, so we can call him by name during this episode. But um yeah, Anthony basically made a home gym, and inside of the home gym, if you remember the unofficial gym from what was the name of that episode?
Oh goodness.
I have it right here. The name of that episode was The Path to the Pokemon League, episode 8.
And it was I want to say Zeb,
AJ.
but that
AJ.
AJ.
Yes. So in that episode, AJ had his own like tent that where he trained all his Pokemon. This is basically the kind of the same setup, but it's a lot less advanced to what AJ has. This one basically just deals with weights.
Yeah, because it's a boxing gym, whatever.
Yes. So, all right. So yes, at this point, we have story time, and it's the daughter's kind of sad basically because the father basically has no time for the family. He's always gone, and he's always training. So she wants him to just come home. So Doug,
They so they're standing there and they see the poster for the P1 um fighting tournament. And did we ever find out the daughter's name?
um,
We
I
have to, Rebecca, right?
let me see.
That sounds familiar.
Yes, Rebecca. Yes, you're 100% right.
And
Rebecca
he
is her
said,
name.
and she says, well, he's always so focused on winning um that tournament. So maybe if he loses,
He'll be home more.
he'll come home and he'll be home with us more. And horny Brock pops up again and goes, well, we'll take care of that. We'll just where's the fight? Right now we'll go and then we'll go out for a milkshake or something. And
Brock is so horny. He's basically saying, "Yeah, I'll be your father. I'll be here. I mean, I took care of my brothers and sisters. You have no idea what I can do, woman."
when did Brock turn into Barry White? What the fuck?
I feel like that's my go-to because I think you said the same thing about Boats McGurr from. You're like, when did he become Barry White? Well, that's my voice.
That's my voice.
So yeah, but it's at this point Ash remembers about his primate.
Yeah, and we have the same flashback, but Ash isn't scared. He's like, well, Primate is a fighting Pokemon, and then Brock goes, well, and I have Geodude, so we're covered.
So it's at this point we go to a scene with Team Rocket, and Team Rocket is looking at the P1 tournament poster, and they're like, "Ooh, there's going to be a lot of strong Pokemon here. So if we can get in there, then we can steal some of these strong Pokemon and bring them back to the boss.
So and
I mean,
Meowth,
and it's a good plan, but it's very, very not well thought of.
well, and Meowth immediately points out the flaw. He said, "Well, that's all well and good and great because obviously we're Team Rocket and we're fabulous, but we ain't got a fighting Pokemon."
Yeah. So what do they do?
They kidnap a guy, basically.
Yeah. Oh shit, I forgot all about that. They actually dress up Jesse, and Jesse is all like thinking of the glam here, but it's a nice photo of Jesse in a bikini. Just
Yeah, because she's like, "Well, we could take the money and then I'll have a dinner with my close friends," and it's just Jesse in a bikini with
a bunch of male
ca-
servants.
cabana boys, basically.
The it looks like the same boys that Agatha had in the Tentacool and Tentacruel episode.
Right?
Just her servant boys. Like, I'm so ugly, but I got all this money. I can afford to be around a bunch of nice looking men.
Except, and the good thing about Jessie is she doesn't have that problem.
No. Jessie, I mean, if she dolls herself up, can be a good looking woman.
Could
So
be, she is.
so it's at this point now that we kind of switch frames, and let's see. We find a man who's coming into town with a trained Hitmonlee at this point. And I'm sorry, outside of the video game, Hitmonlee looks so weird as a Pokemon.
Right? I mean, because he's legs and a torso.
Yes, and that's all he is. Like,
Yeah.
where is his mouth? Like, I don't even see his mouth.
You don't even
How
see
does
his
he
mouth.
how does he eat? But yeah, they kidnap this man, Doug, and they take his Hitmonlee, and Hitmonlee listens to them. Like, why?
Yeah, and that's where I'm sitting. And a little bit of spoilers. We never see this guy again.
No,
We
not.
this Team Rocket doesn't get their comeuppance for stealing a Pokemon.
I mean, they get their comeuppance,
Well,
but
they do, but they don't. The guy doesn't come out and go, "Hey, that's my Hitmonlee," and then Hitmonlee kicks him, and then Team
to,
Rocket blasts off.
yeah, I mean, to all we know, he's still in that bathroom, tied up and starving to
Oh dear.
death. Am I wrong?
Oh well, that just went to a dark place. I mean, you took kidnapping and made it dark. How dare you?
How dare I make something dark? So, okay. Yes, so it's at this point we kind of flash forward to the tournament. So we're now in front of thousands and thousands of people. Team Rocket is in the big coat that the man was under that they took from that guy. James is at the bottom. He's holding up Jesse on his shoulders, and he can barely stand.
Yeah, and
James is
you know,
one weak mofo.
it's the whole two people in a trench coat thing. It's like it reminds me of this Simpsons bit where Milhouse and Bart have been banned from the comic book shop,
Oh, I've seen this episode.
but they find out that some famous magician is going to be at the shop, doing tricks and stuff,
So
and
they
they want to
have to get
go.
there.
So they use Homer as the top, and he walks up, and they're stumbling because obviously it's Homer on top of two kids, and they get to the door, and Homer goes, "Hello, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. Let us in, please." And then they pull the trench coat out, and that's kind of the immediate image that I got with Jesse walking out of the stall with the trench coat and the hat on and shit.
So in this scene, it's funny because Ash and Brock are down there are down there with I keep forgetting his damn name, Anthony.
Anthony.
Yes. So they're down there with Anthony and they're standing right in front of Team Rocket. Jessie didn't know that Ash and the gang were going to be there. So she's taken aback. So she's like, oh my gosh, it's the twerp. So it's at this point that the episode kind of takes a big fast forward because we immediately go from that scene to the first round, and um, it's Ash it's Ash and Primate versus another trainer and their Machop.
Yes, and we get a brief kind of, I don't, definition is not the right word, but a brief kind of, well, yeah, definition, I guess, of Machop, and about how he's like solid muscle, and they find out his because he's about to do it. They find out his signature move is the seismic toss, and Ash freaks out like he didn't just see a seismic toss in the last episode.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, goldfish.
But okay. So this P1 tournament, okay? Isn't this
Yes.
P1 tournament supposed to be a boxing match?
Well, it's
Or is
kind of
it
like early.
or is it just an exhibition fighting show?
It's kind of like early UFC. I kind of think,
Okay.
where
Okay.
it's like it's fighting.
Just legal.
Just yeah, it's not, well, it's underground because they are kind of underground, but it's not like hush hush. It's not like Pokemon Fight Club.
This basically is Pokemon Fight Club. So yeah, they're fighting, and Machop. I keep wanting to say Machamp, but Machop grabs Primate by the foot or by the ankle and starts twirling him around like fucking crazy, and just throws Primate out of the ring, and that was it.
Well, he throws them, and so I thought this was like early WCW, where like over the top rope and it was it. I mean, a little different because early WCW was, if you throw somebody out, you get disqualified.
Yes.
But so I thought, okay, he did the seismic toss out of the ring. Like, I thought that was it. I thought that was game. And we have Ash running after him like it's a big dramatic football play, and he misses him.
And
And
Primate gets mad because he has a temper, remember, from a few episodes ago.
and you think, oh boy, Ash is about to get it.
But no, Makey goes into the ring and just starts giving Machop the business and impresses everybody and just kicks Machop and fucking knocks him out. And Ash is like, all right, cool. That's my Pokemon. And even though he hasn't trained Primate a lick, this is all from the wild. Just saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he's been afraid to take him out of the Pokeball because he doesn't want to get that work again.
Well,
Which, see our discussion a couple weeks ago about how Ash is a bad trainer.
yeah. And then we go straight from that to Jesse and James with Hitmonlee against Brock's Geodude.
Yes, and the profile that we get, or not the profile, like the stare down that we get, is ridiculous.
Why?
Well,
Why do you say that?
first of all, I want to backtrack just a second. And,
Okay.
forgive me. I know we're kind of all over the place, but it's late and we're kind of on a roll, and it's kind of a weird thing. Um, Misty and Rebecca are in the stands watching,
Yes.
and pardon me, as Primate is putting the work on Machop, Misty's kind of going, wow, this is impressive. And Rebecca's like, what do you mean? And Misty goes into the whole explanation about how Primate's still got a bit of a wild streak and he would never listen to Ash. He was just kind of doing his thing. And maybe by seeing the dedication to his safety, maybe that kind of snaps something into Primate. And
Yes.
Rebecca's like, that's all well and good, but I have no investment in this storyline. I'm just here to get my father back.
I'm just yeah, she wants her father to lose so he'll be at home more. So at this point, Hitmonlee starts fighting Geodude and just starts putting the work in on Geodude, but Geodude's blocking all the attacks. But not only is he blocking, but it's Geodude's getting the work in because there's nothing Geodude can do because Geodude is just a rock with hands. And as he's getting the work in, Anthony comes over and goes, "Yeah, your Geodude basically has no shot. Here's the towel. You throw this in, and you go get your Pokemon, and you can watch the rest of the fights."
Yeah, he goes, you need, as a good trainer needs to know when to walk away, and he hands him the towel, and Brock throws it in, and he gets in the ring and he scoops him up, and he's apologizing, he's asking Geodude if he's okay, and Geodude goes, Geo, and Brock goes, you don't have to apologize, motherfucker. He probably wasn't apologizing. You threw him in there because you're horny.
Yes, he
He's
won
not.
he wanted his Pokemon to to show good work so he can get good work from Rebecca.
I don't think we should talk about her like that because Brock's 15.
How old is this girl in the
I,
episode?
I mean, probably about the same age,
Okay.
hopefully.
So, all right. With that being said, um, let's see. We go straight from that to some still images of the rest of the rounds of other Pokemon putting in some work, but it's finally come down to Hitmonchan versus Hitmonlee. And Team Rocket is right there. And these two just go at it, and Hitmonchan is getting worked. Like Hitmonlee is just putting in work.
Because and this makes sense, right? Because they are evolutionary forms of each other, right?
Yes.
So it would make sense that the big brother's putting in work on the little brother, and
Well, no, well, they're not the same form. So they're two different Pokemon. They're that's not the little version of Hitmonchan, if that's what you're getting at. These are two different Hitmontop and Hitmontop is the pre-evolution version of Hitmonlee. And then what's the pre evolution of Hitmonchan? Give me one evolutions of Hitmonchan. There we go. So the pre-evolved version is Tyrogue. That's his name.
oh,
So you got Tyrogue is the pre. Oh no, I'm sorry. Um, let me see. Hold on. Hitmonchan Bulb, because I'm getting pre-evolution in the main series. Evolution. Yes, there we go. Tyrogue is the pre-evolved version of Hitmonchan. Hitmontop is the pre-evolved version of Hitmonlee. There you go. There you go. Got it.
okay.
Just
So
wanted to throw that out there for you.
so yeah, I don't, and forgive me if you ask this question because this is like I say, it's late and it's been a little crazy. Um, so I'm watching Hitmonlee put in work on Hitmonchan here, and all Team Rocket's instructions are just kick, 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 kick.
Yes.
Why is Hitmonlee listening to them?
I'm guessing that Hitmonlee thinks that Team Rocket is its leader. Because remember, they're covering their face and they're just in the big trench coat.
But I don't like to think of Pokemon as being that dumb.
Well, Maybe that was the way that he was raised.
just to fight, and just if somebody tells you to kick, you kick and don't look back.
Yes.
Okay.
So uh, that's what I got, and I'm rolling with it. So it's at this point, uh, they're in the ring, and Hitmonchan basically gets worked and loses against Hitmonlee.
Yeah, because
Pretty drastically too.
well, and it's a weird um it's a weird loss because Anthony knows that Hitmonchan is not going to come out on the right side, but Team Rocket doesn't give no fuck about nobody.
No.
So they're going in. I'm hesitant to say for a kill shot, but like they're not stopping. So all of a sudden, Rebecca jumps down from the stands and goes, "Don't hurt my father's Pokemon."
And throws in the towel.
And he throws in the towel, or well, the towel gets thrown in, but then Anthony has to jump in front of her to save her, and he gets kicked and gets knocked all the way back to the turnbuckle.
Because Team Rocket just has no chill. Like
They
that
have no chill, they have no heart, they don't care.
that Hitmonlee was getting ready to just go all up Rebecca's head. That would have been dangerous.
Yes, because we don't know. I mean, obviously we've seen Ash, and Ash get shocked, and Misty's gotten flamethrowers, but you're talking an I'm not going to say undisciplined Hitmonlee, but obviously
A Hitmonlee that needs more training.
a Hitmonlee with a temper.
Yes. So it's at this point, Team Rocket accidentally slips up, and James can't hold Jesse anymore, and they fall out of the coat. And Ash, Misty, and Brock are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Team Rocket!" And it's at that point that they don't really. Actually, I'm putting my foot in my mouth now because it's the next round, and it's Ash's Primate against Team Rocket's Hitmonlee at this point, and Hitmonlee knows now that his trainer is not there, but he's still listening to Team Rocket.
Right.
But Primate is actually putting in some work during this match, and frickin' Meowth went underneath the ring at this point and put a bomb. I mean, don't ask me why the bomb's there or what the bomb is actually supposed to do, because I mean we find out later what the bomb actually does, and it just makes no sense why it's underneath the ring. But it's a kid show; we're gonna roll with it, though.
Yeah. Because at this point we have to.
Yes. So at this point, Pikachu sees Meowth run from underneath the ring, and Pikachu looks under and sees the bomb. Pikachu's like, "Oh shit, there's a bomb underneath this ring," and walks over to Ash and tries to tell Ash, but Ash is not hearing it.
And so Pikachu, which is weird because we basically just had the Timmy and the well thing, last week.
Yes.
And it's, Ash goes, "Well, Pikachu, I don't really have any time for this." It's like, "Oh, fine, but there's a bomb, but okay." So Pikachu says, "Well, I'll just handle my own business, I guess."
So
And
Pikachu goes under the ring, grabs the bomb, and they go to they Team Rocket sits here and tries to detonate this bomb. The bomb's not going off, and Pikachu just hands Meowth the bomb. But
Meowth goes, "Oh, thanks."
and then goes, "Wait a minute, what?" And it's at this point we're getting the climax of this boxing match, and Hitmonlee is on the turnbuckle and jumps off the turnbuckle. Primate jumps as well and gives a full-on uppercut to Hitmonlee and fucking knocks him out, and Primate is your new P1 winner.
So, everybody's happy except for, Team Rocket, but they really don't have a leg to stand on because that's not their Pokemon, and we've spent basically the entire episode going, how the hell does this happen? Um, you know, there's this real heartfelt moment about basically I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be home more. You know, Anthony's kind of giving Hitmonchan an attaboy. You fought good.
But now he wants Ash's Primate. But well, actually, wait, we're not there yet. So Team Rocket's upset. They now have Meowth has the bomb back in his hand now. The bomb finally goes off because, of course, it's a kids show, so it was delayed like 2 minutes, and fucking blows up, and they are out of here. Team Rocket's blasting off again. That's the last we see of them.
Right.
So now we're back, and Anthony wants Primate because he wants to make him a world champion.
Because, he's a hell of a fighter, but, I can turn him in. It's like, dude, he has the belt.
Yeah, he's the P1 champion. But Ash, being Ash, just fucking gives him up. Just,
He says, he
okay.
says, well, he has the belt, but maybe he can be better. It's like, it makes no sense. It it's, and I said it before we hit record, and I know, good podcasters maybe shouldn't keep referring to their pre-record chat, but whatever. We're doing this by the seat of our pants. Leave us alone.
Yes.
It's also 11:30 at night. Shut up. Um, with Butterfree, right? It was understood that like it's kind of a rite of passage thing. Like, Butterfree have to go on and mate or else, stuff.
Yes.
So it was kind of accepted. Like, okay, Butterfree needs to be, oh God, I hate myself. Butterfree needs to be set free. So we do it. This is Ash just giving up a Pokemon.
Yes.
Just, you're a fighter. You've won this belt, but here, stay at this gym.
And he never sees his Primate again. Just throwing that out there. Unless he gets revisited in a later episode that I have not seen yet, this Primate's gone. And the announcer of the show even alludes to it. Will he ever see his Primate again? I guess we'll have to find out at a later time. And he walks away and just gives them to Anthony. And Rebecca is happy because her dad's now home, but now her dad's going to be training with Primate. So what good has that done?
Right.
Fucking
He'll be
Rebecca's just going to run away.
he'll be home training.
So yeah, that's basically the end of the episode. But Doug, you said you had a problem with Brock's being smitten to Rebecca. You want to explain?
Oh yeah, right. So when Rebecca first shows up, and it's Brock, so a woman shows up, Brock has to be interested for at least the top half of the episode. And they enter the fighting league because Brock wants to get in on her good side, for reasons. And when we're at the end and it's this big heartfelt moment, you know, oh Dad, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay, Rebecca? And the family's reunited. Brock's just completely backtracked on that whole thing, mainly because I'm sure he realizes that Anthony would tear his head off. But
Well, yeah.
it's just weird because like he's so gung ho, and then it's like, oh
He
wait,
wanted to
no,
be Rebecca's daddy.
this is oh I don't. Good night, everybody. I don't. That's I. That's I.
Wasn't that the vibe that you were getting?
No, this is my last episode. I'm uncomfortable. I need an adult.
Well, that's kind of what I got because I mean, she was talking about how she doesn't have a dad, and he was basically alluding to, okay, well, I can be there for you. Am I wrong?
Mm,
He wanted to be her man. He wanted to be her dad. He wanted to be the guy figure in her life that she's looking for. He wanted to fill that void.
mm,
You still don't like
I don't think you should be talking about her void like that.
it. But all right, well, yeah, that's the episode.
That is the episode. It's a good episode. Um, it frustrates me because Ash had um, did he have six?
He had 6 Pokemon, and now he's back down to 5. So
And
he has one spot on his belt again.
and there's Krabby just sitting in Oak's lab, just having lunch.
Yep. So he's now back down to 6 Pokemon, but he wants to keep that one slot open because he's a selfish mofo, and he will not call Krabby out. But he will call Krabby out at some point, just not now.
No, because that would make a little bit of sense, and we don't want to make too much sense too soon.
No. So,
Ridiculous.
yes. So, all right. Well, that's this week's episode, Doug.
Yeah, I liked it. Um, you know, the from for the base of it, the fighting tournament is a cool um is a cool concept, right? I mean, because
Yes.
this wasn't like Fight Club. This was a legitimate, like, I don't know if it was. I mean, it had to have been sanctioned. I mean, there was
Oh,
fucking an
yeah.
audience.
There was thousands of people there. So, yeah, a sanctioned fight. So,
But
all right.
yeah, the whole my dad's never home, and you got the Rocky vibes. I mean, it's not. It's a good episode if you like, legitimate like Pokemon fighting. Like this was good. This was action heavy. That's it, action heavy.
Yes.
But the story,
Was kind of
I,
subpar.
I could have taken or left. Yeah, exactly, subpar.
So, all right. Well, do you have anything else to add this week, Doug, before we ride off into the sunset?
I don't. I don't know. I don't offhand know what episode is next. Well, actually, I do.
Yeah,
I'm
episode
Never
30.
mind.
Sparks fly for Magnemite. So, that's next week's episode. Oh man, I'm going to have a good old time saying this in Japanese. Do coil dream of electric mice.
Give me Sparks Fly.
Yeah, me too. So, all right. Well, say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you that I hope that you're sticking around with us, and we'll see you next week for another fantastic episode. Have a good night.